Yeah, and look, there are two real pieces to this. One is going to be the sort of political process and what happens to this discharge petition, this vote, after it passes the House. The other piece of this is just how heavy and emotional the material is, the testimony is from these victims, from these survivors telling their stories, many of them holding up pictures, as you showed, of how old they were, their teenage selves, when they were victimized, trafficked, and worse by Jeffrey Epstein and those who were close to Jeffrey Epstein. So a lot of emotion today ahead of what is going to be an incredibly important vote. I want to play just one more bit from one of the survivors' family members. Actually, this is the brother of Virginia Giuffre. She's one of the first victims of Jeffrey Epstein to come forward publicly and to have told her story. She took her own life a few years ago, but before she did, again, as a vocal survivor, her brother today was telling the story about how she was hoping that her story would have an impact on other young people, on potential women, to avoid themselves falling into the same pitfalls that she fell into. And this is, I think, the most emotional part of what he said here. And I can just tell you that several survivors behind him, and even those that you're not going to see on camera here, were all very emotional listening to his retelling of the story of his sister. Take a listen here.
I'm making a small dent in this big world we live in. Well, sissy, you didn't just make a small dent. You made a monumental impact.
I can tell you that I saw literally Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene wiping a tear from her face when she was listening to Virginia Giuffre's brother there. And by the way, all of the survivors who spoke thanked her specifically because of the fact that she's been getting so much criticism and heat from members of her own party, and including the president. But she has not wavered in that effort. And virtually all the victims, again, that came out and spoke gave her that acknowledgement. We also heard from Congressman Ro Khanna and Congressman Thomas Massie. They were the ones leading this effort to get this bill onto the floor. They had to do so by getting around Speaker Johnson, who did not want to put this bill on the floor, through what they call a discharge petition. So it took extra hurdles for them to actually get this vote. We expect today it's going to have a lot of support. I talked to Massie about President Trump's role. Obviously, very publicly, the president shifted his position. He was trying to effectively kill this effort just a couple of days ago. Just late Sunday, he announced on social media he was on board and said he wanted Republicans to vote for it. I talked to Massie about that shift and what President Trump's role is going to be in this moving forward now. This is what Massie said.
I think it's his most recent position that counts. He could be a hero in history. He could preempt the Senate and release these files tomorrow. But his position right now is the correct position. It's the one I think will be recorded in history, but only if they follow through in the Senate.
So we are waiting for this vote. Nicole, if this vote passes overwhelmingly, which we expect it will, potentially more than 400 votes in the House, it would be immense pressure for the Senate to take it up. If there was a thought that perhaps Leader Thune was going to leave it dormant or not act on it, again, I think the pressure that will mount from an overwhelming vote could certainly change that dynamic.
All right.